Let's talk about how to manage anxiety as a high-performing woman while I get ready to go to work. For some context, I want to see if we're similar. I am a very high-performing woman. I'm very ambitious. I have multiple businesses. One is a multi-million-dollar ethical fashion brand that creates jobs for women around the world. And the other one is a coaching and mentoring business. Even outside of my businesses, I'm always like, my free time is spent building stuff, whether that's creating social media content like this or whatever. Like, I'm always working on growing and bettering myself. I'm very high performing. I get a lot done. And I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you are the same or you want to be high performing in that way. Now, I share this only to see if it resonates with you, but I have always been like an anxious person. Even since I was little, I was always super cautious, even very cautious of like judgment and like what people are thinking of me. And most of the time I'm right. Like when someone doesn't like me, I'm usually right about it. So I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm also very self-aware, and that comes from a place of being so cautious. Like you want to know what's going on around you and inside of you. And that for me comes from a deep place of just natural anxiety that has always been a part of my personality. Let me know in the comments if you feel like we're similar in any way as far as being really ambitious and high performing, or if you also have had anxiety as just like a natural part of who you are, or maybe it's just natural to you in this season. Maybe it's circumstantial. Coffee break. Now, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anything like that, but I have had symptoms of anxiety my whole life, and through my lifetime so far, I have definitely learned ways to manage it that make me feel a lot better. There are 3 different ways that I want to share with you today. Let's get into it. The first thing I do to manage my anxiety is realize what it is. It's not a reflection of me. It is literally a physiological reaction. It is my body telling me something, warning me of something. It's like literally a signal that my body is telling me something to try and keep me safe. The problem is that we often don't need these signals in the modern world today. It's something that our body continues to use even though it's unnecessary. Always wet your beauty blenders. It makes everything blend so much better. For example, way back in the day, before civilization, our nervous system was constantly warning us because we always needed to know if a saber-toothed tiger was around the corner. We liked those anxious messages that our bodies sent us because they quite literally kept us alive. So much so, we were constantly on the lookout for threats that our bodies have gotten in the habit of continually looking for bad information, because if we know the bad information, maybe we will survive. That was true for saber-toothed tigers, but it's not really serving us anymore. That's why so many people are addicted to the news, because as long as they want the bad and negative information, because then at least if they know it, they feel like they'll survive. And they don't even do this on a conscious level. It's all subconscious and like in our bodies, worked into the evolution of our brains. So we used to need to be stressed, anxious all the time because a saber-toothed tiger was gonna come out of the woods. But I don't know about you, I haven't seen a saber-toothed tiger in a long time. How this manifests in the present day is that we get the same physical reaction in our brains, in our bodies, as seeing a saber-toothed tiger, being worried about a saber-toothed tiger, when our inbox is too full, when we haven't replied to everyone's texts and messages, when we're behind on a project by a couple days. We have the same fight or flight experience when we're stressed about work as our ancestors did about literally being mauled by a tiger. Our bodies have not evolved fast enough to keep up with the present day. So we still have the same fight or flight experiences about things that really aren't going to kill us. It used to be life or death, and it's not anymore. If your inbox gets a little too full, everything's gonna be okay. If you're a couple days behind that project, let your boss or any other stakeholders know, and it's going to be okay. It is not life or death. It's not worth literally having heart palpitations and sweating and stressing and crying and throwing up over. So the first step to managing your anxiety as a high-performing, ambitious woman is to realize what it is. It is a fight or flight system that's no longer necessary and no longer serving you. So how does this look practically? I tell my body, I have this like mantra that I have to use all the time, especially when I get stressed about work or anything else like that in my life that is not truly life or death. I pause, I take a breath, and I tell myself, it is safe to feel safe. It is safe to feel safe. Like anxiety is warning you like something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And yeah, maybe something's not ideal. Maybe something is about to slip through the cracks, but you are safe. It is safe to feel safe. That one mantra, that one affirmation has literally changed my life. The next thing I do to manage my anxiety is activities that are grounding. And you've heard this before, but don't write it off, because do you do it? You've heard it and you know this with your head, but do you do it? Unless you regularly do grounding exercise that improve your anxiety, keep watching. So for me, these grounding exercises include going on walks. Walks are huge for me. I have a perfect little angel puppy and a beautiful neighborhood. And so we go on walks every day, multiple walks. Sometimes they're short 10-minute walks, sometimes they're 20-minute walks, sometimes they're 60-minute walks. And on those walks, I'm literally making, this sounds so funny, but eye contact with nature. I make eye contact with the greenery. I make eye contact with the blue sky. This is like another way that our bodies as humans have evolved. Looking at greenery and looking at blue, whether it's water or the sky, is so healing to your body, because before civilization, when we had to literally walk through deserts or dry land to find an oasis, that seeing that greenery from far, seeing the blue from afar would literally light up our bodies and tell our brains like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be okay, we're gonna drink, we're gonna eat, we're gonna be safe, there's life over there. And so still today, looking at that greenery, whoa, that was a little bit much. Looking at that greenery or looking at the blue, whether it's the sky or water, literally has a physiological reaction on your body. So I call it eye contact, and that just means I intentionally look at as if I was making eye contact with trees, with the sky, with water. It genuinely helps. Another grounding exercise that I do is journaling. And again, I know this sounds cliche, but do you do it? Unless you actually do it every day and it's improved your anxiety, keep watching. For me, journaling looks different day to day depending on what I need. Sometimes I just free write. If there's something that I want to like figure out or something that I want to improve on, or just like funky stuff inside me that I need to work through, I just start writing about it. And that's been super helpful, but I do have a journaling prompt structure that I sometimes use as well. I'll just say the prompts for you here in case you want them. The first prompt is always what I'm grateful for. Again, sounds cliche, write what you're grateful for, but are you doing it? Don't just know it with your head, actually do it in action. I make a little list of things that I'm grateful for. Then I think about the feelings that I want to call up for the day. Like, what feelings do I want to feel? Do I want to feel at peace? Do I want to feel successful? Do I want to feel accomplished? Do I want to feel in connection with people? Like, how do I want to feel? And I purposely say the words, what feelings do I want to call up? Because I believe that everything that we need is already inside of us. We don't need to look externally. Like, I know some people use the phrases, especially when they're like trying to manifest things like, what do you want to call in? But I believe everything's already inside of us. The next question, the next journal prompt is, what do I need today? That could be a bubble bath. That could be getting that project done so it stopped hanging over my head. That could be dinner with friends or family. It could be a long walk with my dog, like literally anything. What do I need today? Don't overthink it, just write it down. And then I write down what would make today great. This is so powerful because you'll realize that to make the day great, you often don't need a lot, and you can usually give it to yourself. Whether that is, I stop working at a healthy time at like 6:30 p.m. instead of working until 9 p.m. It's kind of similar to what do I need today, but it's more like what at the end of the day would I need to have seen happen to be like, yeah, that was an awesome day. Lastly, I make an aligned to-do list. These are to-dos that I want to do that day that actually align with me and my greater goals and what I want to see happen and accomplish. I make that to-do list, but then next to the to-do list, I put the feeling that I want to feel while I'm doing each thing. So maybe one thing is cleaning up my kitchen. Next to that, I put like, I want to feel grateful for this home. I want to feel grateful for the food that I cook here. I want to feel grateful for my pots and pans. I want to feel grateful like for this life that I've created. Or if it is something at work, like I want to feel like a powerhouse because I'm actually knocking these big projects out. Maybe you know you're going to see your family later that day. You say that I want to feel like super present when I'm hanging out with them. Whatever it is, just already deciding ahead of time, like what feeling do you want to feel? is so important because we're so motivated by emotions. I mean, even just think about like things that you don't want to do. It's usually you're procrastinating out of fear, or you are stressed or overwhelmed. And so why don't we just associate positive feelings with things that we know we need to get done anyway? So that's journaling. And the last grounding thing that I'm going to say is meditation. And I tried like those apps like Headspace and stuff like that, where you're literally just supposed to sit there. I can't do that. So my form of meditation are doing things that keep me in the present moment. So for me, that could be yoga. Like yoga, you're so focused on your body the whole time that you're present, you're in the moment. Walks are also a form of meditation for me. A big thing that I do for meditation is I love EFT tapping. Look, I don't know the science behind EFT tapping. I don't know if there really is science behind EFT tapping. I do know they allow like psychiatrists to do EFT tapping for like veterans with PTSD or anyone with PTSD. So, you know, there's some people who really believe in like the science behind it. All I know, it's something that keeps me present, and that is why I love it. So I view it as a form of meditation as opposed to like a scientific thing, because I know meditation is scientifically proven to be good for you. So I just view it as a meditation thing. I'll link below my favorite YouTube channel that I use for EFT tapping. But I don't want you to feel like you have to add in this whole new thing to find something that's meditative or grounding. For example, this one time my boyfriend absolutely loves playing like mini golf, putt-putt golf. He's from London, so he calls it crazy golf. And one day we went and we did a course together, and the thing was, you know, that's not like my favorite activity ever, but I was so surprised how present I was the whole time, because you're focused on like getting the ball into the hole and playing these little tricks, and the scenery is like very sensory. So it kept me really present. And that to me was a form of like grounding or meditation, because I was in the present moment. So maybe there's something that you do that just keeps you present, that doesn't allow you to escape. Like watching TV or reading books are forms of escape for me, which, hey, I use escapism pretty much every day. So I'm not against it, but what is something that you can do to help you be grounded and in the present moment? And maybe you're already doing something, and if you are, just keep doing that. Now let's move on to the third thing. Like I said, I pretty much always feel like underlying anxiousness. Again, it's just kind of a part of my DNA, my bodily structure, but there are certain times where it definitely flares up to where it doesn't feel manageable. I want to quit my job. I want to start over. I want to move to Hawaii and just work at a bar and like not be an ambitious person anymore. Just like lay on the beach during the day and work at a bar at night. That's like my mental escape. And anytime I get super stressed, I'm just like, you could do that. Like that's on the table for you. I'm never really going to do that. But just knowing it's on the table, like, sure, I could do that. Helps free me a little bit. But anytime my anxiety boils over to where I am like literally on the verge of burnout, like when your anxiety is like through the roof, can't manage it, I want to cry, kick and scream all the time, everything feels unjust, everything feels like it's putting you down, that's a sign of burnout. Anytime I realize like, oh, I just want to quit everything that I'm doing, that's burnout. Now, I know that's true for me because I love my work and I love my career, but maybe you don't love your work and love your career and it's not a good fit and you actually do have to make a change. Keep that in mind. Now, if you're burned out, but you want to stay where you are, in my experience, there's only one solution. You need a break. You need a break. So often we think like, oh my gosh, I need to quit. Like this isn't good. You don't need to quit. You just need a break. You don't need to quit, you just need a break. And look, I'm not saying you have to book like a 6-day vacation to a tropical destination. I'm just saying maybe you need to have a little staycation, take a few days off work. For example, about 6 months ago, I was ready to throw in the towel on everything that I was doing. I felt like I was a failure at everything that I was doing. I wanted to quit, and that was a red flag to me because I'm like, but you love your career and you love your businesses and you love everything that you're doing. And thankfully that burnout came right before a vacation that my boyfriend and I were taking to Venice. Now, I know it's like, well, Elizabeth, I can't just get on a plane and go to Venice. And admittedly, we were in our home in London at the time, so it was like really easy to pop over to Venice, okay? And I'm not saying you need that, but all I'm saying is 3 days in a different location without my computer, no one's allowed to talk to me about work, all of that, and I'm in a physical different location, healed me. I came back and I was like, let's do this. Let's be a powerhouse. Let's crush in the door. Let's make magic happen. And I was 110% again, so grateful for my life and so excited about everything. So whether it's a little getaway, a staycation, doesn't matter, but break out of your normal work routine. No work, I would say 3 or 4 days at least, not a couple days, because that's just called a weekend. That's not called a break. And if you can change the location around you, even better. We need the break and we need the scenery change to show us, like, if we stopped working, the world keeps turning. If we stopped grinding, everyone would be okay. You would still be okay. Your life would be okay. Everything would continue and you would still have so many good things in your life. And that goes back to our bodies are in a fight or flight. It feels like it's life or death when it's literally not life or death at all. I'll give you a little bonus tip for managing anxiety. Something else that I do is I make a list, like, what is the worst that could happen here? Is it I lose my job? Is it I run out of money? Is it I let everyone down? Is it I don't fulfill my potential? Is it so-and-so leaves me, breaks up with me, doesn't love me anymore because I'm not successful? Like, what is the reason that you're anxious about a situation? Write down the worst case scenario of what could happen. And then imagining that that worst case scenario has happened, make a list of what is still good. Make a list of what you would still be grateful for, of what you would still have, even if that worst case scenario happened. So let's just say my businesses fail, I run out of money, my boyfriend breaks up with me because I'm no longer a powerhouse badass woman that he fell in love with. I would still have my family. And I know that if I was kicked out of my house by the bank because I couldn't pay my mortgage, I could live with my parents and my family would love me. I would have my dog, she would love me. I know how to build a business once, I could build another one again. Or I have so many skills that I could get a job somewhere. I know that I could. Make a list of, like, what would still be good, what would you still be grateful for, even if worst case scenario happened. And in doing so, you show yourself, even if the worst case scenario happens, I'm gonna be okay. I just got this new sweater from Cezanne and I'm obsessed. Normalize wearing cardigans as tops, okay. As a little recap, just remind yourself that your anxiety is your body using an old message system, fight or flight, that isn't applicable to the modern day. It is safe to feel safe. Work on incorporating grounding and meditative moments into your daily routines, and remind yourself that you don't need to give up. You just need a break. And then your bonus tip, determine what the worst case scenario situation is and make a list of what would still be good, what would you still have and be grateful for. Those are my tips for you, you incredible, powerful woman. I hope they helped. Let me know in the comments if something resonated with you, or if you have any further questions. I would love to answer them for you. And if you liked this video, of course, like it and subscribe, but also follow me on Instagram where I give tips like this pretty much every day. Go out there and crush it today. Bye, babe.